Welcome to Gooseberry Science and Education videos. I'm your host, Dr. Goose, and I'm absolutely thrilled you're tuning in. Today, we're walking through an explainer that is honestly a real game changer. We're going to look at exactly how you can win your daily disputes using elite, real-world negotiation tactics.
Now, right before we jump into the tactics, I do want to mention something quickly. While I am an AI host, the information in this explainer is factually accurate and based entirely on rigorously vetted human-written sources. AI is simply a tool we use to create better educational videos instead of manual editing. All right, let's dive right into this.
Okay, I want you to imagine this highly infuriating scenario. You know the feeling, right? Your stomach is growling, your heart is pounding, and you walk into the break room to discover the unthinkable. You know for a fact your coworker Kelly stole your delicious chicken parmesan sandwich right out of the fridge. But how do you get her to actually confess without starting an all-out office war? I mean, you want justice, absolutely, but you also have to sit right next to her at the Q3 budget meeting tomorrow morning.
Normally, let's be honest, we handle these disputes disastrously. We resort to shouting matches, passive-aggressive sticky notes, or just sitting in silent resentment. But not today. Today, we are trading in all that chaos for calm, tactical, and psychological precision. We're going to treat this stolen lunch exactly like a high-stakes FBI standoff, using actual hostage negotiation techniques to peacefully resolve the crisis.
Section 1. Tactical empathy. Getting inside the suspect's head.
So here's the absolutely crucial point. Tactical empathy doesn't mean you agree with Kelly stealing your lunch, not at all. Rather, it means you calmly and strategically understand her perspective to lower her defenses. It's like you're mapping out her emotional landscape so you can navigate it without triggering an explosion. You see, why do people get defensive? Usually it's just because they feel attacked or misunderstood. Tactical empathy acts as a psychological disarm code. And get this, it's about your vocal tone just as much as your word choice. You want to make her feel completely heard, even if you know she is entirely in the wrong. Why? Because a heard suspect is a compliant suspect.
Section 2. The art of mirroring. Reflecting to diffuse the tension.
Now, mirroring is this highly effective, almost invisible mechanical process. You simply listen, you pause, and you repeat the last 3 words the other person just said. I know, it sounds almost too easy, right? But psychologically speaking, repeating those last 3 words triggers a natural human instinct to elaborate and clarify. It effectively puts the burden of the conversation right back on the other person without you ever sounding accusatory. You basically just let the silence do all the heavy lifting.
Picture this. Kelly defensively claims, "I brought my own lunch." Now, instead of accusing her, you channel the smooth, super calm voice of a late-night radio DJ. You just tilt your head and calmly reply, "Your own lunch?" This naturally prompts her to keep talking, over-explain, and inevitably slip up. You aren't accusing her, you're just acting as a curious sounding board, letting her trip over her own evolving story.
Section 3. The magic words. Winning the negotiation.
So as Kelly over-explains and you continue to calmly mirror her words, you are secretly steering the conversation toward the ultimate goal of literally any FBI negotiation. You want to psychologically maneuver your opponent into saying the 2 magic words that signal total agreement and drop defenses. That's right. Notice how it is not, "you're right." There is a massive psychological difference there. When someone says you're right, they're usually just trying to brush you off and end the conversation. But when they say that's right, it means they feel you have completely understood their perspective and you're finally on the exact same page.
Getting a "that's right" means you've won the negotiation entirely peacefully. Once Kelly says "that's right" to your empathetic summary of her stressful morning, she feels completely understood. The tension just evaporates, and she suddenly blurts out the truth about eating your chicken parm. The win isn't about crushing your opponent, it's about making them feel so deeply understood that the truth just falls out naturally. You've secured your confession, and the break room remains at peace.
Section 4. Applying tactics to everyday life. From stolen sandwiches to real stakes.
Whether you're trying to settle a petty argument with a friend or you're walking into your boss's office for a raise, human psychology remains beautifully consistent. The stakes change, for sure, but this exact same sequence of psychological steps applies universally. You use tactical empathy and mirroring to drive the conversation right toward that ultimate goal. You're basically unlocking human cooperation. For example, imagine walking into your boss's office to ask for a raise. You'd start by using tactical empathy for the company's tight Q3 budget constraints.
You mirror their anxiety about overhead costs to gather valuable intel, and carefully steer them through their own logic until they agree with the undeniable value you bring to the team by saying, "That's right." Once they affirm your worth with those two magic words, well, the raise is merely the logical next step.
So, this brings us to a pretty powerful realization. Now that you are fully armed with the rigorous psychological toolkit of an elite FBI negotiator, what everyday hostage situation will you diffuse today?
Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the content.